Hello, my name is Charnay White, and I would like to welcome you to my prayer closet. This is a place where I talk to God privately and then sometimes have open session talks with Him about um, my life and His direction and whatever He has for my purpose. And so I have put in place all of these lovely pieces you see behind me to kind of emulate who I am. You go, girl. I still remember the days that I pray for the things I now have. That's a big one. Broken crayon still color, and I love to color. I'm very expressive with my coloring. So I get it from my mama. This is a natural fact. And a little weird is good, right? You never want to be too normal, too regular. You always want to be thinking outside of the box. And with God, all things are possible. And of course, I have my cross with my dove in the middle. So, this is my prayer closet. And I hope all of you all will find a space in your home during this time to express yourself, pray to God, let Him know that you love Him. And in spite of everything that it looks like, we already know He's making it something better because all things do work together for the good of those who love the Lord, are called according to His purpose. So, today I am going to sing a little bit. And then I want to speak to all those who may be graduating, high school students, college students, even some eighth graders, those who were looking for pinnacle celebrations in April and May, and maybe even June, that may or may not be happening at this point because of everything that's happening in our nation, trying to keep it safe, trying to keep everybody well. I'm going to sing a little bit and then I'm going to talk about my own testimony, and hopefully you can get something out of it. If you ask me, have I cried before? I'll say yes. If you ask, have I felt pain before? I'll say yes. If you ask me, have I been without? I'll say yes, without a doubt. But those times were when God proved Himself to me. If you ask me, have my friends been few? I'll say yes. If you ask, were there times when I didn't know what to do? I'll say yes. If you ask, have you ever lost your way? Or have you been at a loss for words to say? I'll say yes, but despair was not my end. There at Calvary, God exchanged for me my unrighteousness and sin. He bore my reproach and He loved me so. My sins, judgments rest on Him. He exchanged my gloom for gladness. All my questions, the answers came there at Calvary. Jesus So that is a song that I sing to remember how amazing God has been and how He used every intricate piece of my life to work it together for the good and to produce something that I could not imagine. When I was a student at Fisk University, my junior year, I decided to run for the position of Miss Fisk University. I'd been active every year and I had been praying about it for maybe about a year and a half, 2 years prior, and preparing myself mentally. I'd had some ups and downs at Fisk. I was a singer, of course, and I really wanted to make an impression, an indelible impression on the campus with whatever God had given me at that time. I was very fervent, very serious about Christ, and I just wanted to be a part of whatever God was doing. So nevertheless, I ran, and towards the end of the campaign week, um, we were consistently having issues with security. And I had gone to administration about it individually, as groups, written letters. We had done a lot of things to try to get the administration to understand that the student safety is at stake. And if we dial 911 and we don't get a precinct, but we get a local security guard, what is it going to mean for our safety if something is really happening? And we'd had a fire in one of the buildings, and it was a contained fire, and we couldn't get through. And so I had been praying about it. Well, nonetheless, I decided, I can't remember if it was that Thursday or Friday, to put a protest together at the administration's office. And I called my team, my love team, which was my theme, Love Will Lead the Way. And they came together and I said, listen, I feel like God has given me this vision for us to just go and tell the administration we're serious, we're sick and tired of lack of security. It's not safe for us. We pay tuition, we love our alma mater. All we want is to feel like we can be here and be safe away from our families wherever we may come from. So we did it. They stood behind me. I was actually kind of shocked, but I kept it moving. And they got behind me and we went to the administration building and we protested. And I remember the president knowing me by name because I was in his office a lot with whatever I needed to say to him. And he said, you know, Charnay, why didn't you come to me like you normally do and talk to me about this? And maybe we could have done this in a different way. You know, a protest at my office, you know, this is a business, and, you know, it's just ways that we do things, and this is not it. And, you know, I told him that we had been trying, that this is where we were. We wanted a solution, and enough was enough. And so we went back through the campus. We took it back to the main hall, and of course, eventually dispersed. And I went back to my dorm and I cried. I'm talking about a mourner's cry for about an hour. Embarrassed, devastated, felt very alone, felt that I had disappointed somebody that cared about me, somebody I had developed a relationship with, even though we weren't always on the same page. And now, God, I'm out here. You know, people think I got some type of publicity stunt happening because I want to be Miss Fisk, and, you know, they're not going to vote for me. All these insecurities went through my body. When I went to bed that night and woke up the next morning, I found out that a student had been shot at a gathering that had happened on the other side of campus. And you know what? I knew, I had confirmation then that that was something that God was leading me to do. At the time, I felt left, I felt alone, and I felt like only God could fix it, and only God did fix it. As it would happen, a person did get shot. He did not die, thanks be to God. I did go on to win Miss Fisk, and because I was able to accomplish that goal with God's help and my incredible team, that next year I pursued applying for a divinity degree. So I applied, of course, to Vanderbilt because that was the only place that I knew to apply. So now we're talking about the end of senior year. I've applied to Vanderbilt. I've been working very feverishly to give them my best shot, had good grades, was very active in ministry. And excuse me. And so
the next thing I knew, I got a letter in the mail saying that I had been rejected, that I had not been accepted. They weren't going to be able to accept me at this time, and that they didn't have to give me a reason why. That's exactly what the letter said. Like, we're rejecting you. We don't have to give you a reason why. So now I am twice devastated because I have put all of my eggs in this divinity school basket. I'm like, I know this is what God has for me. I know this is the life He has designed for me to pursue and take steps to preach His gospel, share His word, be amongst His people. And now I have no idea what to do. I had no other plan. And so I laid before God, prostrate, and I just prayed. I fasted. I was just like, this is it. Once again, I have been left. But I knew He had shown me before that He would never leave me. He would never forsake me. That every good and perfect gift came from Him, and that there's no variation in what He was telling me. So at the time of graduation, I had no plan. So maybe a couple weeks before graduation, um, I got a letter in the mail from a professor at Howard University at the Divinity School. And she told me that she was from my hometown, Louisville, Kentucky, and that she was a Fisk graduate, and that she was a professor at the Howard Divinity School. And she wasn't sure if I had chosen a divinity school yet, because I had put in my Ebony article at that time all of the HBCU queens, campus queens, were in the Ebony. I'm assuming that still happens to some degree, but anyway, she saw my caption that I was a music major, vocal performance, and I aspired to attend divinity school after graduation. And she didn't know if I had chosen one or if somebody had reached out to me already and I'd made a decision. But she would love for me to come to Howard, and she would do whatever was necessary to make sure that I got accepted. And I remember my good friend Albert and I opened the letter at the same time, and he looked at me and smiled and said, "You're going to Howard." And so, you know, I'm sharing this with any student who may be expecting to graduate in this season, and because of all of the different calamities that are happening in our world have prevented that. Nothing of your doing, but whatever's happening in this world is preventing you feel like from your next level, that all things do work together for the good. We have no idea all the good that has already been prepared, that is coming out of this coronavirus scare situation. People are losing their lives, people are losing their livelihood, people are scammering, but the people of God are not. We already know that He's here for us. We already know that He have saved us. He has already done the ultimate sacrifice, that we have been made His righteousness, and that He would never put us out or have some type of expectation laid out for our life that He doesn't plan to fulfill. So what I'm saying is that if I hadn't had that protest and made it known, maybe if that person would have gotten shot, maybe those things would not have connected, and they would not have beefed up the campus security as they did for months and years to follow. And maybe if that piece of me becoming Miss Fisk had not made a connection to a national, international magazine, and me putting my desire out there, even though I had other plans, I would never have been a two-time HBCU proud graduate and an alum of Howard University. So my plan was set for me, and it wasn't by my doing. It was because God was in the plan. Both times devastated, both times crying, both times upset. But if you're supposed to graduate in May, if you had plans to marry, or if you had plans to um, take another leap of faith or step in your life, and for some reason someone or some institution has told you that's not going to happen now, don't be discouraged, because when you finish with it all, everything does work together for the good. And when you sit back, you take a deep breath, and you allow it to happen, He will never fail you. I am a witness every single time he connects those dots. Let him connect those dots in your life. Let him be your source. Let him be your strength when you're weak, when you can't find your way. Just like the song says, at Calvary, Jesus died for me. He exchanged his life for me. If he would exchange his life for me, surely he would make sure that any pathway that is next in my life will come to pass. So I just want to encourage you in my prayer closet today and let you know that God is for you, Jesus is with you, and all of heaven's angels are on your side. God bless you. Take care. Stay in prayer.